Hello everyone, welcome. Today I am joined by another guest, so I am waiting for her to join while you will be joining. Okay, sometimes it takes a moment for the invitation to be accepted. Oh, great. It's happening.
Hello.
Hello, welcome.
Hello,
Hello,
Victoria.
Sheer. Let me introduce you.
Yes, please.
So please welcome Sheer Lev with us today. She's an embodiment guide and mentor. She's a dancer. She knows a lot about somatics, embodiment, conscious movement, and she's guiding her clients and students in person in Israel, where she's based, as well as in online spaces. And today we will be diving deep into embodiment, conscious movement, somatics, dance, and I guess so much more.
Yes.
Welcome. Would you like to add something to your introduction?
That was actually the perfect introduction. I don't think I have ever felt more aligned with anyone introducing me. So thank you for introducing me in such a way. I'm really, really excited to talk with you today and to dive into the subject, which we are both so passionate about. This is also why we connected and decided to have this conversation live. So yes, very excited to talk with you.
Yes, exactly. Thank you. Thank you for your time and thank you for the reciprocity. I was really uh, glad and excited when I found your profile. First actually, I found your dance meditation video on YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
It
Yeah.
guided to Instagram. And yeah, I somehow feel that might be already first question, first starting point. I somehow feel like the space of embodiment and conscious movement and dance, I would say, is underestimated, underappreciated.
Mm-hmm.
Um, that's my personal feeling and opinion, being many years in the space. And that's why I am really happy to always find another soul that is so passionate about sharing this knowledge and this wisdom. So yeah, that's why this series, that's why it's even more important. How do you feel about it? Do you share this opinion, and what is on view on this point?
It's so interesting that you said that you find that sometimes people underestimate the conscious movement practices. In my opinion, this is one of the most direct lines we have to connecting to the divine, to consciousness, to everything really that exists around us. And when we learn how to move in a way that is really in tune with our nature, with divine nature, there is nothing more unique and more precious in my eyes. So sometimes people might think this is just dancing, this is just movement. And, you know, there is such a perception of dancing being like standing in a club, holding your beer and doing like this from side to side. But really, dancing movement is so much more than than it is perceived from the outside. And I believe that both of our audiences do have a curiosity, at least, about the subject of conscious movement and the possibilities of it. And I really do believe that there is an importance about sharing the medicine and the healing and the transformation that can happen through conscious movement, because it is something I experienced firsthand. And once you experience it, it's impossible to discard it as something unimportant.
Yes, exactly. Um, I'm always emphasizing this the whole thing, and this is what I personally struggle a little bit sometimes with sharing this online or even through the words. Um, that it's primarily about experience.
Mm-hmm.
It really a person has to experience this, and then yeah, once experienced, it's not undoable. It's not possible to undo this. How I also observe. Would you agree with this, or what is your opinion on
Yes. Yes, I very much agree. I think that is why my main focus and passion at the moment is to create spaces for humans to experience this. So, to really create physical spaces and online spaces for people to experience the magic of movement. I believe, like you said, that once you experience it, you can't deny it, that it holds possibility, that it holds the key to transformation. Having said that, it really is an interesting thing to bridge between someone who is curious until someone steps in. And then there really is a need to embody this practice and to hold this knowing in everything you share online and in how you come across. I think if you feel called to share in the subject, if you feel called to really spread this knowledge, then it really is up to you holding this frequency, holding this knowing in your being, in the way you share, in the way you even just walk about in the world and just communicate with human beings. And then something about that, something about your frequency or energy might pull them in, you know?
it? Yeah, exactly. Beautiful. That's so powerful. So let's go back a little bit. Was it always for you that obvious how you found yourself in the embodiment phase, in the embodiment journey, how you embodied your life, how and like how maybe you could also emphasize or like stress a little bit like what is the if for you there is a difference between dance or there was somatics and then how it manifests or how it manifested in your life, in your journey.
So I believe that in order to really share my journey with embodiment, I actually need to talk on a subject that is a bit painful. You know, sometimes I don't want people to get to know me through my trauma, through my pain, through my story. But for me, that was my doorway to embodiment. That was my doorway to conscious movement. I always loved dancing and moving. It was always my favorite way of self expression, but I didn't really experience the medicine of it and the possibilities of it until I needed it as a lifeline for myself, meaning that I experienced, and I will give a little trigger warning here if anyone is a bit sensitive about the subject of sexual assault, then that is something that did trigger me a couple years ago around 2017. I had a very severe trauma resurface and I experienced very, very hard disassociation from my body, meaning I did not feel present in my body. I felt disconnected. I was out of body. I didn't feel hunger. I didn't feel thirst. I could hardly take care of myself, of my basic functions. My soul did not want to reside in my body. I was experiencing so much pain at the time. And the way I came back to myself, the way I came back to my body, and of course I did go to therapy, I did do talk therapy as well. I was having someone professional by my side at the time. It is important for me to say that. But what really shifted and allowed me to slowly come back to myself, and it was a process, was learning somatic movement and learning somatic techniques that help to connect to the body. And this was a very, very gentle process. It started from this, just holding myself in the shower, reminding myself of my body's boundaries, reminding myself that I have a body. Like literally, I remember myself sitting in the shower and crying and just holding myself because I was so out of body, I hardly remember this. Um, and slowly I picked up more and more techniques, and I did find that the more I practice being physically present with myself through movement, through touch, through tapping on the body, Later on, I discovered EMDR therapy, which is a therapy that also uses eye movement and tapping. All of these techniques slowly brought me back into myself, into my body. And this was such a profound discovery to me that it did become my main curiosity and something I really wanted to just full on just do all day, just be in movement and curious about movement and study movement and learn more tools of movement. It was endless curiosity that suddenly appeared through the healing that I experienced firsthand. So following that, I did decide to study dance. I went to study dance. This is like later stage in life, you know, like second career in my 30s already. I'm like, okay, I'm going to start over now. There's something that I really, really want to dive into. And that was the point where I realized I'm not playing anymore. This is not just like we're going to dance, we're going to move. This is like full on medicine that I am learning, firstly for myself, and secondly, something I can serve, I can give later, because the transformation I experienced through that was profound. And the healing that I found, finding my way back to my body, but not only just physically being here, but actually being so present in my body in the moment, being able to experience my senses in a new way, to be so much more online and confident. And I saw it coming into play in all my relationships. It was just, it was really, really transformative. So that is how I found my way to embodiment, and specifically this word kind of, I see it as a kind of like an umbrella that underneath we have a lot of different ways to go about it. And I'm also curious to hear how you define embodiment and how you go about this practice, because I do see a lot of us in the field kind of approaching it from different perspectives. But to me, it really is the practice of being present in your body and holding that presence and bringing through that presence consciously with movement what we want to experience. This is in the most basic terms. Yes.
Wow. Okay, first of all, I'm sorry for your traumatic experience and that it had to happen that way. On the other hand, the turn of the story is incredible. That brought you to the work that you're doing, and that also explains now more to me why you are so passionate about what you're doing, because you also experienced such a tremendous power of it, and the healing power, and the empowerment that comes from it. So
Yes, yes,
on
very
the
true.
other hand, thank you for sharing this, and being this testimonial, this living testimonial. And yeah, you answered in the end. You answered the question that I also wanted to answer you. What is your in your words embodiment? So to answer with my answer, as you asked, I always refer to embodiment in the simplest terms as expanding of sensory capacity,
Mm-hmm.
which leads to more presence, which leads to expanding all kind of capacities that we need in order to thrive in life.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So for me, it's a lot about thriving in life through relaxation, through the movement, through somatic release. Therefore, the tension goes out of the body. There is more space. So
Mm-hmm.
the capacity expands. So therefore, we can expand. So I always also refer to body-mind connection. So yeah, we are a lot in the mind. Then the mind can drop. We drop to the body. And then actually, we mostly do it because actually we want to tap into the soul. So through this connection and through creating more space, we create the space for the soul to speak through us.
Yes. I love that. That is so beautiful.
That's how I see it, and I completely agree. And that's why it's so beautiful also to have such conversation with you, that we can also confront this the definitions in that case right now. Because I also, that's what I see, that I find from time to time a person that has in their bio embodiment mentor, embodiment guide, or similar, And what I see in the feet, these are completely different things every time.
Yeah, yeah, that's very true. Yeah, well, it's a very wide term, like we said, it's a wide term, and I think that in a way, if we want people to take it more seriously, then it really is about kind of first taking ourselves seriously and our practice seriously. And also, I believe there needs to be a standard to what you teach and how you teach it, and really, really approaching it as a sacred practice, this movement, this conscious movement. And I do hope to see this more in the field, because I think in a way it kind of became a trendy word. It's like it's a bit trendy now to write embodiment, and I'm all for it. But if you decide to lead with this, then firstly you need to own it and you need to live by it, and thirdly you need to teach it with the responsibility that it requires, because it really is something that can be profound.
100%. Yes, we need to be careful about misuse, because then, yeah, I also sometimes have a feeling that the word might be misused. Um, and exactly, especially when we go by embodiment term as a leader, as a guide, as a teacher, whatever you call yourself, uh, you need to be embodied in the practice and in the
Mm-hmm.
life that you live. Especially if it comes to embodiment practices itself, because then it goes just one to one, right? So yeah, that's beautiful that you stressed this right now.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, that we, as people that are in the field, that we need to hold these standards. What would you think contribute positively for us um, to hold this standard, and to, or even rise it, to make it, to share the knowledge even more fiercely, let's say.
Hmm. Well, I'll answer this in two ways. Firstly, I believe that it is through your own personal practice as an embodiment teacher, as an embodiment guide. When you hold this frequency, when you hold this knowing of embodied living, and you go about your life in such a way, I believe that it communicates with the world, with everyone you come in contact with. It sends this very embodied present frequency outward, and that is something that is felt. It is something that is felt. But when it comes to online, it's not necessarily something people can feel your presence online. It's something that is a bit more complicated, a bit more delicate to get across. And in that sense, I believe that it's something that you need to be responsible about the way you talk about this. You need to talk in terms that are very understandable and very simple. You need to really, if you are sharing a certain practice, then to do this again with responsibility and with understanding that not everyone will get it, but the people that get it will, and whoever this is for will meet it. And if we want to raise the standard, we just need to raise the standard of what we do. So for me, it's like a challenge of really honing in on my practice and on how I bring it out to the world, and doing my best every single day to bring it across even clearer, even better. It's actual work to get something across that it's not like fully understood by everyone. You know, when yoga was invented in the past, no one knew what these specific movements were, these specific sequences were. But with time, it became very, very, very mainstream. So what I'm trying to say is when you're bringing across a new kind of teaching, then it requires you, firstly, to become the teacher, and secondly, to really teach it in a way that is as responsible and respectful as you can, and really with a lot of reverence for what is coming through you, because I believe that it is coming through you. The teaching is coming through you. I recently felt such a strong pull to really, really give myself to the practice of embodiment, to the point where I quit my job and I decided to do this full time. I was not doing this full time up until a couple months ago, but I felt a true calling that humanity needs to be more present in their body. They need to have more tools to be regulated in themselves. And that is something that I truly feel confident through my practices, through the knowledge, through the studies that I went through, that I can now bring across. And I do want to do the best service I can for this. So that is why I decided to give myself to it full time, and I stand behind it every single day. I get up and I do my best.
100%. It is about holding yourself accountable for the practice with the respect for yourself and for the practice, which I think sometimes might be difficult as being in the innovative space or the new the thing that is only making its way to the broader audience, with these misunderstandings possible on the way. Um, one hand, I think it gives beautiful space for us to really channel and to really be innovative, as we don't really have to copy paste certain patterns, or let's say sequences even, and such. But on the other hand, yeah, this brings this challenge of actually communicating this. And also, again, comes back, at least in my experience, strongly that since it's more body work, how to communicate it in verbal language, to be precise, even during the one-on-one work or the group work, when even explaining the exercise, which I also believe, to me, translates to dance classes, where it just goes so much beyond that can be caught in the word, that I find language essence has more masculine energy because it needs to be more put in the box, while the things we are talking about tend to go more into the metaphysical.
Yes, yes, I completely understand what you're saying. The magic that happens in dance spaces and spaces where people get the chance to drop into their bodies and to practice dance, to practice embodiment. The I'm looking for the right word for this, because it's actually something that is almost indescribable when you really sense the room, a room filled with people that are deep in presence, deep in their body, deep in their movement. It is something that is so incredibly beautiful. It's just, I feel like those moments are moments of divinity that I get to witness. And if I have the honor to guide people to this place, I truly feel this is there's no greater gift than to bring more presence to this world, to this plane. And it really is a challenge to get this across, because the experience of presence is truly wordless, it's formless, it is something that is beyond us. And this might be our challenge as teachers, to find the words and the ways to communicate this, and to become very creative with the spaces we create and with the teachings we offer online. It is a challenge. It is a challenge, and I believe that the medium we have, social media, that we have right now in our generation, and the opportunity to spread. Yoga took like centuries to spread worldwide, so we can do this in a shorter time because we have the technology for it. But it does require us to be innovative and creative, and like I said, like to do our best to find the words and to find the ways to create these spaces, to invite people to deepen into themselves with movement, because it's just something that everyone should experience. Like, I wish for everyone to experience it.
Yes, exactly. I always say that we have a body for a reason
Oh,
in
yes.
this planet and in this lifetime. So I strongly believe we should be making use of it in a divine energy. I want to touch on your dance experience.
Mm-hmm.
Is it how do you go around it? How do you go with it? As formal dance education has its own challenges.
Mm-hmm.
As I also understood that you went through formal
Yes.
dance education, and also, as much as I know, I mean, Israel is pretty famous in dance community, in dance environment, its strong dance traditions.
Mm-hmm.
So how is it? How? yeah, how do you go with it? How do you go around it? And would you say that every dance is embodied? Because we also
Oh.
kind of, yeah, we sometimes go like embodiment dance, conscious movement, or at least how I go with the terms, because of this difficulty of putting it
Mm-hmm.
in the language.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Okay.
your opinion
Yeah.
on that?
So there were a couple questions here.
Yes.
I'll actually start from answering the last one. I don't think that every dance is embodied dance. I don't think that every type of movement is necessarily conscious movement. I think this connection between our presence and the way we move can be felt in even sitting down and in blinking our eyes consciously. And it can also not be felt in a complete repertoire that you do in dance class for 2, 3, 5, 6, 8 hours. If you are here and you're not here, it doesn't matter that you were dancing now for 8 hours. Your body was physically active, but you were not embodied. So in that sense, I believe that there is a gap to be bridged between professional dance classes and embodied dance classes or conscious movement. It's not necessarily the same thing. My dance experience and what I studied was a combination of, like I said, professional dance, which include within it ballet and modern dancing and learning sequences and all kinds of techniques, which were very that helped me improve physically and kind of open up my vessel to more kinds of movements. And I like that my body has possibilities, that I can do these stretches and I can do all kinds of cool things with my body. But the places where it really clicked is actually in dance classes that were more in the contact improvisation area. That's where I started to feel the connection between consciousness and body and movement. Because in contact improvisation, you also work with partners, you work with partner dancing, you work with getting into flow and really feeling the connection and allowing your body to open up to this flow. And these are things that are much closer to embodied movement. So it's very hard to dance contact without being present. It's very hard to get into a contact improvisation flow without being present in your body. It's very easy to do a ballet class without being present in your body. You can do a complete ballet class and just think about, am I doing my pirouette right or no? I mean, it's not, it doesn't need you to be very present necessarily. And here in Israel, there are some beautiful dance spaces in the conscious movement community, and the ecstatic dance community in Israel here is very, very prominent and very strong. And in that sense, that's where I find myself in as a dancer now. After I finished my studies, then I don't find myself really going to ballet classes anymore. Like I find myself going to ecstatic dance spaces at the moment.
Mm-hmm. Okay, thank you.
And yeah, I just want to add to that. Then in my space that I where I teach dance, then I really try to combine the techniques that I learned in dance studies, but always connecting to consciousness, always connecting to the present. So I might ask people to do certain movements or to do certain styles of dance as we practice in the room, but it will always be guided internally. I will ask people to first tune in and to find the movement from within, how it wants to be expressed outside. So we might take some techniques from modern dancing, but we will make it our own. And that is where I believe is the connection between embodiment and movement. It's not necessarily the same, but it can be.
Yeah, amazing. It's really interesting to listen to you because I find so many parallels in what you were saying, and the even just the last thing you said. I always say that we are moved by intention in this space. So that's what you refer to. That actually first is the intention, the movement quality, and the shape only follows.
Yes, yes, I love how you said that. Yes, exactly.
So that's how I also refer to this. I personally find a little bit this topic of like dance and embodiment a little bit complicated, since I I studied a lot of ballet,
Mm-hmm.
and even not only practicing, even though I did practice a lot, but also by really studying, watching, and especially Vaganova methodology and all these nuances. For some reason, I find myself so fascinated by this. And on the other hand, yes, I partially agree. Um, so yeah, the dance, it's actually the dance on its own between the dance as a choreography and different styles and the embodiment, because I also 100% agree that not every dance is necessarily embodied.
I do
And I
believe though sorry to cut in.
and just one thing more that I also thought just recently that I think many dance students, especially younger dance students, would benefit a lot by embodiment classes or
Yes,
embodied dance classes.
yes,
Yeah.
yes, definitely, definitely. And what I was cut in to say, and I apologize for that, is that I believe that great dancers, also in the field of ballet, and they are very much embodied. I mean, you can also see when someone gets into flow and there is something beyond them that is moving through them, that their vessel, that their body is so in tune and so connected and so online. That's what is also fascinating to many people when they see dancers. It's like, whoa, what is that person doing with their body? Like, that's crazy. So yes, definitely it can be. Ballet can also be very much embodied. It's just how you go about it.
Yes, I think it's personal in that case, or sometimes it's about the moment. So how do you how do you work with people that come to you and they say they don't know how to dance, or that they dance terribly, or that they don't even like know how to move, or that their movement is terrible?
Mm.
How is it for you, and how what would you say to this person?
I love this question. I think that if someone is talking with me about wanting to dance, that already shows there is a curiosity. It's like a little opening. It's like, hi, hello. Yeah, you're curious about dance? Okay, let's talk. I First of all, I normalize it. I normalize movement. The movement does not need to look any certain way. Like you said, it doesn't need to have any specific shape. It's not a performative thing. It can be, but it doesn't need to be. So I try to normalize movement as something we just do. You just move. You just are. It doesn't matter if you do it beautifully or not. And then I also like to emphasize, and if we are already in a dance class setting, then I like to emphasize that everyone here is a weirdo. We all move in our own weird ways. I also like to demonstrate the weird ways that I move, which is something I also wish to share online more, because I think that true embodied movement includes a lot of strange things inside of it. So I do try to really normalize movement in all its shapes and its forms, to get out of comparison, to get into just feeling comfortable in your body and in expressing. And let's start there. Let's start there, from just being comfortable here and feeling myself and moving a little bit. And usually, when people start moving in space, when there are other people there, they are very self-aware in the beginning. It's very much mind and awareness. So some techniques that can help that is closing the eyes. Very simple but very effective. Connecting the breath with the movement, shifting the mind from the thinking mind to the being mind. So we do this through really focusing on our breath, focusing on our movement, focusing on specific senses, if it is our feet on the ground, if it is how our skin feels. There are different ways to go about this, but I try to get people out of their mind and out of their criticism towards themselves. It usually works. It doesn't always work. Some people can go through a 3 hour class with me and struggle the whole way and just feel like they were not present and they were fighting and they were horrible. but it's like a muscle. You need to strengthen this muscle of presence. And if you experience a lot of resistance, being present with the resistance is what will release you from the resistance. Come to a class and you experience mostly challenging feelings. This is part of really moving through these feelings and crossing over to the place of conscious movement.
Amazing. For the people who struggle with this, do you still have moments that you feel like a bit off, or that yeah, let's say like off, if it comes to really go into embodied movement? That's what I mean.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a very, very important question. I'm not sure if you were asking me or you're asking the people watching us, so I'm pausing for a moment.
I was asking you personally for to maybe depending your answer, but like to encourage people that as you mentioned, it's a muscle, so it's the thing that you have to practice. So
Mm-hmm.
maybe if it happens, even though you are a teacher already, that means that it's completely normal.
Oh, yes, definitely, definitely. It's very, very normal to experience this. And it can happen. It happens to me when I'm like too much in my head. It happens. Even if I have all the techniques and the tools, even if I've been doing this for almost 10 years now, it doesn't matter. It happens that we get caught up in our mind. And like you said, it is a muscle, so we can strengthen this connection and this channel. We can keep it more open, more in tune, and we can have the tools. I am at a point in my practice where I do feel very much embodied most of the time. And it is not something I say lightly because, like I shared in the beginning of our conversation, having experienced such a severe traumatic event that really disconnected me from my body for years, I experienced moments of disconnect where I was triggered and my body, I just out of body. And this happened in many different settings. This happened in intimacy as well, where I got triggered and I was out of body. So for me, my baseline as a human is being first present in my body. This is the first thing I do every single day, are practices to get myself in body and in sync and in tune. Because if I do not do that, I might leave my body again. This can happen, and it does happen sometimes. So it's even more than just, enjoying dance class or getting in flow. It's actually like it's something I need to do for existing here on this plane. I need to be very much present in my body and to consciously choose it. And in a way, we sometimes get our biggest challenges in life because they're also our greatest teachings and then our greatest gifts. And I do believe it is that the fact that this is something I struggled with for so many years, and that this trauma has really disconnected me from myself in such a way where I couldn't function, where it broke apart my family, my life really. For me now, it's the thing that needs to happen before everything else. And in that sense, I believe in it fully because every single day I experience the healing qualities of it. And I do have the tools that are available to me and allow me to come back to myself when I disconnect. So I know that this works. And if I know this is working, I can help other people get there as well.
So just to get it separately in your words, what would you say that how often one should practice embodiment?
Hmm. I think that embodiment, it's something that needs to become second nature to us. I think that we need to practice this daily, ideally to take the time to be present with our body. So this can look like going for a walk and just breathing and noticing our feet on the ground, but doing something every day that is you and yourself, you and your body. I think that is the best way to go about this. And I'm really talking about simple practices, 5, 10 minutes with yourself, putting your feet on the ground, feeling it. Great. You're more embodied than you were before you did that. And I do believe that there is a very, very important key in having more in-depth practices and experiences of embodiment. Like we said in the beginning of the conversation, once you experience it, you can't go back from it. Once you know it, you can't unknow it. It is so true. The knowing of presence in the body, it is such a true and direct experience to the divine that I believe that allowing people to experience this in a more in-depth experience of this is also necessary. And in that sense, a group setting is something beautiful to really go to an embodiment class or to ecstatic dance or online spaces that offer this experience in depth. I think if someone can do this, I'm trying to be like realistic, but once a week or once every couple weeks to do something like this, it really keeps you in flow and in tune, because you also get to really be embodied for a couple hours and to really experience movement, conscious movement for a long period of time. And then you learn how to hold this frequency for a long period of time. And like we said, it is a muscle. And secondly, you see other humans doing this as well. You see other humans moving and expressing and experiencing themselves. And the more you see people doing this, the more it normalizes it in your eyes. So I love immersing myself in these movement spaces, because when I am there, when I see other people doing this, I'm like, these are my people. This is how we are supposed to live. And it really empowers me when I go about my daily life and just walking in the city, and like everyone is on their phone and walking like this and no one is even looking you in the eye. Then you can remember that there are humans out there that will look you in the eye, and there are humans out there that do move from a place of connection. And you want to be one of those humans. I mean, it's a much better experience of life after all.
Mm. Yeah, the impressions, for example, that I get after sessions, in that case, both group and an individual, is aliveness.
Mm.
The
Yes.
participants, they feel alive, like awake, like even wild. It goes to like kind of wild state, which people
Yes.
start to refer, they express it after. So that's very much that I can also say from my experience. And yeah, exactly. There is something very special about the group, as much as doing alone, as much as doing in smaller group, in all different settings, the energy is just so different. So it's definitely worth having all the variety of experiences.
Definitely. Definitely. I completely agree with that.
Yeah, I want to ask you then, what is the role of intuition in your work? And what is intuition?
Oh, what is intuition? Hmm. I never really thought about this, That's an interesting question. I think intuition is our inner guidance in a way. It is an inner guidance, an inner knowing, something that we get when we get really in tune with our senses. We can hear ourselves better, and we can have a better sense about what is right for us, what is wrong for us, what direction should we go, what human we should connect with. I think it's like an inner compass, an inner knowing, another sense that we have, like hearing, like smelling, like touching. We have the intuitive sense, kind of like the sixth sense. And I think it is very, very important when it comes to everything we do in the world, really, and how we navigate life, because we have an inner guidance, and when we choose to follow it and to follow, it's like there is an unknown path that is our path to walk. And when we really listen in and we tune in and we are in flow, then we can hear our intuition and we can follow this path much more consciously. And I think it is also important when it comes, especially if you want to hold spaces for other people, to really be in a place of integrity and in truth, and to be in a place where you are connected with your own inner knowing allows you to connect people to their own inner knowing. And it's also something I try to remember as a teacher, that what is right for me is not necessarily right for everyone. And it's more important for me to teach people to be in tune with themselves than to listen to what I say necessarily.
Mm. Yes, to
Not,
really, so to really connect with the listening and to respect the limits.
yes, Yes, exactly. To connect to their inner guidance, to listen to what is right for them, to how is right for them, and to learn their own pace in life. But it's necessary for us to know this to know our intuition, to know our inner guidance. It's necessary for us because the world is so noisy out there. There is so much noise, so much distraction in our world, and we're being pulled in so many different directions that we have to learn how to firstly discern what is for us and what is not for us. And we do this through our intuition. And I also think now, as we speak, that our intuition is also tied to our senses. I think that our senses, the more we develop them, the more we become in tune with our senses, they are very wise as well. We can really sense and feel what is for us, what is not for us, what food is for us, what person is for us. You get this kind of, some people go on a date and say they got the ick, the ick. We get these senses of specific things, and it is for a reason. So our senses, and becoming more in tune with our senses through practices like embodiment, allow us to also become more in tune with our intuition, and they also work together, I believe. I know as a mother as well, that is something I'm really, really working on teaching my son. Discernment. What is right for you? What feels right for you? I ask him this a lot. He's only 5 years old, but I ask him this a lot. What feels right for you right now? And he knows how to answer this. He is very wise. He knows what feels right, what doesn't feel right for him. And it's a skill that sadly we didn't really get to develop as children. But I think if you develop this at a young age, it can, create a lot of shortcuts, hopefully in the future. We had to go through a lot of like different things to arrive at a place where like, okay, first I need to understand what I want. Thank you very much. So I hope to create this shortcut for my son by starting from this question.
Yeah, I actually refer to healing process a lot as actually the process of unlearning.
Mm-hmm.
So speaking
Mm-hmm.
of this, that yeah, hopefully through dedicated people who dedicate their lives, commit their lives to healing work and similar, the next generation will have much shorter way.
Amen.
Amen. Uh, oh yeah, also what you were referring to right now about knowing what feels right, what feels not. And there's also a lot what I found personally overlooked a lot in the professional dancing world, which is really sad. So that's why again I think that the formal dance education could really benefit from some adjustments, even though probably it's already happening, as I personally distanced myself from this for some time. Uh, but in a way, I maybe one day we will be teaching some classes.
Yes, that could be so incredibly beautiful. Can you imagine to really bring embodiment into professional dance spaces and to give the tools that allow dancers to tune into their intuition and not only into technique? What a beautiful connection to form.
Yes, I was actually imagining this already myself, and I'm like tripping in my mind, and then I imagine stuff, and then this is one of the things that actually I imagined. And I was like, maybe even in my university, in my faculty, what if I get the invitation one day and I would be like, wow, that would be really a journey and like a full circle and such a gift to share this with next generations.
If you can imagine it, you can create it.
Yes, exactly. Uh, uh, I'm always writing a list of questions before every conversation. So I just will have a look if there is something specific that I might have forgotten. And also in the meantime, if there is something you want to touch on, something, some burning thoughts that you want to share, then feel free, and also from the audience, like if you have any questions, then please ask.
Mhm.
We're
Mhm.
series happy to answer, I assume. Okay, so then, what is your favorite thing about this lifestyle, and then about teaching this to other people?
My favorite thing about this lifestyle is honestly just feeling in tune, like we said, with my intuition, feeling in tune with my body, getting into flow. There's something so beautiful about moving through life when you feel you are truly aligned with what you're supposed to do and you are moving in a way that is in tune with yourself. It's very easy to move about the world in a way that just disconnects you from what is right for you, from how you are supposed to do things. And I love that I get to prioritize what is true for me, what is right for me, and to really move from there. It's not always easy. It's not always the what I want it to be necessarily. But I know that as I listen to myself, as I tune into myself deeply, that I can really create a life that is right for me, and I can serve from this place, can really truly serve from this place. So that's what would say is my favorite thing about living an embodied life, and that's what I strive towards every single day. And what was the second part of your question, if you can remind me?
Then what is your favorite thing about teaching this to other people?
Oh, teaching. Wow. Teaching is you see on my face, it just brings a smile to my face because I think it is a true gift to connect people to themselves and to give them the tools and kind of the cheat sheet on how they can access a deeper state of presence and how they can bring this present to their dance, how they can feel more confident in their dance. So my favorite part about teaching is to see that moment of like, aha, like the click, it happened. I'm here, I'm present, I get it, I get what she's saying. And when someone gets lost in dance, I mean, lost, they're not in their mind, they are fully in the movement, and you see the divinity moving through them. It's just, those are moments of pure reverence, of pure gratitude, of allowing people to experience firsthand the medicine of movement. It's something that I believe is the greatest gift I get to receive in this life, either than my son and teaching people movement. Those are the things that are like, it's just, it's incredible. It's such a gift. And hopefully the more people learn this and experience this firsthand and choose to hold this frequency in their daily life and the way they go about life, the more they go and meet people and share this presence and share this embodied knowledge simply by being it, and it spreads. And the more people are embodied, the more people are present in themselves, the better we will all be. I promise you, the more people feel comfortable in their body and comfortable in their movement, the better we will all feel. Just moving from the mind to the body, moving into presence more and more and more. It's truly a gift to be able to experience this and to bring this across.
Mm, amen. I
Yes.
can feel this energy
Amen.
from you once you
You're
when you.
going to shake it a little bit.
I feel it with my whole body.
Excitement. I also got excited. I also got a bit flushed now.
You see the energy. The energy is just so strong, and just mm, even just conversation about movement is already moving the energy so strongly. And about the
Yeah.
embodiment, it's the energy, it's awakening the senses. Um, that's how I feel, and I can see it through the screen even, this radiance, or I can feel the radiance when you light up, when you talk about it. That's really such a gift also to listen to you and to have this well, kind of like live in person conversation. Um, Yeah, would you like to add something again?
I, I would first want to say thank you, Victoria, for inviting me to have this conversation with you and to really taking the time to talk about this subject. It is so important to raise the conversation about embodiment, about conscious living. And I really want to thank you for everything you do and for everything you put out there and for the souls you touch, and also for inviting me to share this space with you and to talk about this subject today. It was a true joy to talk with you about this. And to anyone who is watching our conversation, if you are curious to learn more, then we both have resources and we both have our teachings, I'm sure. But if you would take anything from this conversation, I just want to invite you to become more in tune with your body, with yourself, and to take the time every day, even if it is 5, 10 minutes, to just tap in slightly through putting on a song and dancing, through going to a walk and not being on your phone while you walk, but actually walking, noticing your steps on the ground, doing something small every day to be more present in your body, and slowly, slowly shifting more and more inward, bringing more presence to your life. Once you experience this gift, there's no going back. So yes, that's my wish for anyone who is watching us right now.
Oh, thank you very much, and likewise. And I I have to think that it's just the beginning of the conversation. So I'm definitely happy to do it again. And then also, please specify if you wish where people exactly can find you. Where are your
Yes,
classes now? What are your spaces that are available right now to work with you?
yes. So thank you. In Israel, I teach. I teach in Kfar Saba, which is in the central part of Israel. I am planning on opening some more classes in Tel Aviv and in Pardes Chana. So this is something that's going to happen here and hopefully in other places in the world this year as I travel. It's something I will share a bit more on soon. And next week, I am going to launch my online dancing space for conscious movement. It's called Afterglow. It's a guided dance meditation. It's an hour, 15-minute guided dance meditation that is fully intended to give you the opportunity to experience conscious movement through dance. I can't wait for this launch. I can't wait to share this offering with the world. So that will be available on my Instagram and on my YouTube channel. You can find me there, Sheer Lev, Sheerlev. Welcome. I would love to share movement with you.
Beautiful. Stay tuned. I will also, for sure, when I upload this conversation on YouTube, then for sure I'm sharing links to your resources. And
Yes.
in Instagram, I will tag you so then people can find you and beautiful offerings. I also got excited. So fingers crossed
Yes.
for all the lunches, for all the classes, and um, yeah, send more energy to sharing of the knowledge of the wisdom of embodiment, embodied movement, embodied dance, conscious movement, and the power of somatics.
Yes.
So yeah, thank you, Sheer. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your generosity. Thank you for your dedication. And I also thank you everyone who joined us today. There were so many people who joined, and I'm sure there will be many more people watching this on the replays. Let it spread, let it go.
Yes. Thank you so much and sending a lot of love. Thank you.
Likewise, thank you very much. Bye bye.
Bye.